So we've seen a little bit of a shift in the weather pattern here. A lot of the storms before were going northeastward. They were going at some pretty good clips. I think our first tornado warning tonight had 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts, or excuse me, was moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. And now we're seeing a little bit more movement towards the east out of all this activity. But again, Metro Jackson, at least the immediate metro, being spared the brunt of the weather tonight, which is good and bad. Probably some more rain would have helped things, but fortunately we haven't had to deal with any kind of severe weather.
We do got some news out of Smith County. This is from Sheriff Joel Houston. He says, as of 8:15, we have nickel-sized hail between Mize and Raleigh, along with heavy wind and rain. One house has a limb through the roof south of Mize. No injuries from Smith County deputy, but the Smith County deputy's on scene.
Okay, and if we can, let's take a look at hail scan here, see if we're missing any kind of hail on any of these storms. So yeah, there was a pretty good line of hail that developed with that storm that came out of McGee. This is quarter-size hail, so that came out of that storm, and I'm sure there's little pockets in here, ping-pong-size hail too, that moved off to the east. So that's what's going on with that cell. Anywhere else we can see any, even though the storm going out, it's interesting, the storm in Lincoln County has smaller hail.
Yes.
So we had some pretty large hail, didn't we, earlier this evening?
We did. We had upwards of 10 to small size hail.
Yeah. On the first storm, right, that was coming across southwest
Yes.
Mississippi. But now the hail threat looks like that's probably diminished. And when we were listing our threats of weather, when we started with this, last week, I think we were saying that, the wind damage and the tornado threat would be highest and the hail potential would be less likely. And that's what we've seen. We haven't had any reports of hail damage, which is good. But again, the rough stuff here is exiting Smith County. The stuff is holding its own in southwest Mississippi. I'm talking Wilkinson County, and we're more focused, at least at this point, on what's happening in Lawrence County, close to Monticello, with that particular storm that's moving east between 30 and 40 miles per hour right now. Not too much in Metro Jackson, except some rain, welcome rain at that. It's raining pretty good also in Vicksburg, and that's where we're getting some light to moderate showers that are falling for the time being as well. We have our first alert storm tracker out in the field tonight. They've been traversing the roads of Copiah County, where initially we had a pretty good amount of damage. Most of the power outages tonight in Mississippi have been in Copiah County, right followed second by Simpson County.
Yep.
So at this point, the worst of the weather is located in Lincoln and Lawrence counties. Let's go take a look real close here at the radar in that area and get a better idea as to what's happening. Maybe you could talk us through it.
Yeah, so we're still dealing with still an area of broad rotation again, but it's not looking as impressive right now, at least near Fair River. It's where I'm seeing this little area of interest, maybe out near NOLA as well. A little bit of a notch going on right there, not as pronounced, really in the midst of this system, but it's not looking as impressive. If I pull up wind fields here, there is still some winds just off to the south and near Highway 84, a little bit more pronounced, but other than that, it's still looking rather broad in my opinion.
Yeah, I just don't see, I don't see it like it's not a standout like it was a little while ago.
No.
At least at this point in time, which is certainly some good news.
Yes.
There was a lot of, oh, that's a pretty good wind gust though right there. That's the highest one we've seen so far tonight.
Yes.
But we're also a little bit higher in the sky right now as we scan it. The beam goes a lot higher in the sky when you're talking about Monticello or Lawrence County. So that just gives you an indication as to the kind of winds that we're seeing out there. What are we looking at for the rest of the night as far as the trend is concerned, in your opinion?
I think we have really tapped into a good majority of the energy that we could see with storms. Now, we're not completely out of the clear just yet. These storms look a little less and less organized. They did just cancel that tornado warning that was near Wilkinson County as well. But in my opinion, I think that we're nearing the brunt of what we're looking at as of right now in terms of how we can tap into energy, in terms of seeing, in terms of tornadic activity.
Yeah, I think at this point, if you were to probably draw a line, I would draw it from, let me see here. I don't know. I would probably say that it's Brookhaven south and east. If there's any chance for getting additional severe weather it's probably going to be from Brookhaven south and east. I just don't see it north and west of Brookhaven. So we really are, not only are we down to Highway 84, but we're almost down to, we're almost east of I-55 at the same time too. So we're talking about a very, very small part of our viewing area. I think this is going to be more of an issue, if it can even hold together, maybe it's more of an issue in the Pine Belt.
Yes.
Or, you know, down towards the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
So far, yeah, this is our really only impressive, I should say, storm. Although there's, well, it looked a little like a notch. It was just blind, or a little, you know.
Line through it.
Yeah. But other than that, I don't see much. I mean, it wasn't looking as impressive.
Mm-hmm. And let's just put a hail tracker on it real quick, just see what's going on. Not impressive.
Not impressive.
Penny-size hail, just showing up between, really, on Highway 84 between Monticello and Brookhaven. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want to be driving in this by any means, but this is the one cell that you could get a quick spin-up tornado on it. But we don't have it confirmed, we don't have it observed. It is just a radar-indicated rotation, which we've been able to show you here. And I don't know if you want to put it into motion to show folks what it looks like, but so there's something there. On the southern flank of the storm, there's something there.
Something to continue to keep an eye on. But it seemed a little less organized, and then it reorganized, and then it's been kind of on this trend, it seems like.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to see how this storm does. It's getting closer to New Hebron and Silver Creek and Monticello right now. It looks like it's over Monticello, the worst part of it. So let's just see how it behaves in the next 10 or 15 minutes. We'll have a better idea as to what it's doing. I would assume that Brookhaven will be dropped from this tornado warning at any moment as they kind of consolidate the size of the warning a little bit to accommodate where the storm is right now. But it doesn't look nearly as impressive as it did just a short time ago.
If anything, just this little area out near Monticello that's kind of a little finger looking. Maybe something in there if it's trying to wrap back up. But
almost looks like you have two notches in there. So there's like a little rotation, like some nodes are trying to form on the south side of it. And those nodes are just kind of rotating around the storm, around it, coming out from the south. But they don't seem to be, at least, doing it yet.
Yeah.
It's not coming together completely. It just looks like it's going through the motions of what we would expect from a rotating supercell thunderstorm. And that's what this is. But even this, there we go. Brookhaven's now out of it. Lincoln County is now out of this tornado warning, and the tornado warning has been consolidated to just encompass at this point Lawrence as well as Jefferson Davis counties. New Hebron, Monticello, and Prentiss are included in this tornado warning that goes for about another 25 minutes, and then that should be pretty much it. Do I have that right? 25 more? 9 o'clock?
Yes.
Yeah.
9 o'clock.
So that's the story on this particular storm, and we'll see how it behaves in the coming minutes as it moves from west to east. We, again, are getting all kinds of different angles on their coverage tonight. We've been checking in with emergency management directors, meteorologist Ashley Civics monitoring the chat room traffic to see what's going on between emergency managers and the National Weather Service. But things are a lot quieter out there. Smith County no longer on the board. It is literally just Lawrence and Jefferson Davis counties where we have a tornado warning in effect right now for a radar indicated storm with a pretty good notch now. That notch that was over Monticello, it's moved a little bit. Now it's due south of New Hebron and very close to Silver Creek, Highway 43. That notch just kind of moved over. So it's still a decent setup storm here that's moving from west to east. The flash flood warning is in effect for the northern part of the storm. And in fact, all of Simpson County and a good chunk of Copiah County are included in that because it's just been raining and raining and raining this evening. And some people are really happy about that. Especially because it's been so long without significant rainfall. And I know you just showed on the radar a little while ago, we had 1-2 inches of rain in some spots tonight outside of hail. So that's really good news. We don't want the hail, but the rain is certainly welcome. And that's what we've been seeing out there. But this is where we have the most intense weather right now near the community of Silver Creek up through New Hebron. And we're not getting any reports in. So that's the thing. Nobody's letting us know of anything else. By the way, I do want to remind you, if you are able to take a picture, and if you are able to take a picture with your phone or a video, send it in on the free First Alert weather app because we would love to be able to show it. Make sure you can just take it safely with you. So there you go. Just trying to see anything else out there.
Taking a look, a regional look here. Yes, the stuff that we were looking that was back in Louisiana, not really looking too impressive, mainly just looking like some heavy downpours. There was a tornado warning at one point for Wilkinson and part of Adams County, although that has since been expired. Not looking too impressive at this moment in time. The really only main storm is, again, this storm heading towards the New Hebron area in Silver Creek.
Gotcha. And we're watching this storm. I'm also getting some reports. There may have been a little damage near Mize a little while ago, just a little bit. I'll have more information on that shortly. As you can imagine, communication is a little tough in some spots tonight where there's power failures. People are more concerned with probably getting, the help that they need. But as far as severe weather goes, we just haven't had a lot of reports, and that's the good news with all this. So for the rest of this week, what are we kind of dealing with here? We're going to be dealing with cooler temperatures. I mean, we're moving into more of a winter-like weather pattern for Mississippi standards. It's going to be kind of chilly for Thanksgiving, and we may even have some rain to deal with on Thanksgiving evening and Black Friday, which I know a lot of folks don't want to hear that standing in line. Hopefully you're not standing in a long line, but we could have some rain that we're going to be dealing with, and it's going to be a chilly rain at that, right? What are those temperatures that we're looking at?
We're looking at around mid-50s for us, so we're going to be slightly below average for this time of year, as this cold front really is going to push in some cooler and somewhat drier air, at least for the start of your Thanksgiving holiday. Now, Wednesday is looking pretty nice. I know we're still going to see partly cloudy skies, but there is still going to be some sunshine, and that's going to carry into your Thanksgiving as well. In terms of rain, again, as Dave just mentioned, we could see a chance for some light showers heading into Thursday night into the early start of Friday morning. Also backtracking a little bit, we could even still see the chance for some rain heading into the start to your Tuesday. Not looking to be a whole lot in terms of our rain chances, but there still could be a few lingering showers as the system continues moving through.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see all these storms out here that are continuing to generally generate south and east of Jackson. And that's where most of the weather is taking place right now. The rain continues to move across I-20 and southward and along I-55 and eastward. So that's where the worst of the weather is taking place right now. But the good news is, at least in our viewing area at this point in time, the only place we have a tornado warning in effect is really northern sections of Lawrence and western Jefferson Davis. That's the worst of it around Sontag, Monticello, and even those notches we were talking about a little while ago, they're less pronounced now. Yeah. They don't stand out nearly as much. So let's see what's going on with this storm, whether it's going to continue to move eastward and stay strong, or it's going to start to kind of maintain or even fall apart a little bit as it moves eastward. So that's what's going on right now with that. Otherwise, we've got a lot of rain going on across central Mississippi, and that's certainly some good news. Folks are happy about getting the rain out there. I know I'm one of them. Of course, we'd rather not have it with all the storms, but it's raining pretty hard right now if you live in Brandon and across much of Rankin County. And this just shows you there's some good amounts of rainfall out there. You just picked right there on the border, 1.3 inches in eastern Madison, northwestern Lee County, a third of an inch around Utica, 1.1 inches in the Raleigh area, and even around Yazoo City, almost an inch, and about almost 2 inches around Meadville and Bude. So this is good news. Even Warren County had a good amount of rain today, 1.5 inches. It's been raining pretty hard around Vicksburg at times throughout the afternoon and evening. So we're making progress. This is definitely the rainfall that we kind of need to have. And as Ashley was just mentioning, we've got more rain on the way this week without the severe weather threat. It's just going to be regular rain, but a chilly rain. A really cold rain. I hope you're having a gumbo for Thanksgiving because that's going to be appropriate for the menu this year, because we're just going to have some really cold temperatures for this time of year. We were 81 degrees today, so in Mississippi fashion, we'll be 30 degrees colder probably as soon as tomorrow, actually. So, and we're going to just stay on the chilly side. I mean, tomorrow we're going to have a hard time getting out of the 50s. So, and probably, as Ashley said, Thanksgiving Day looks more like it's just going to be in the 50s.
And our morning temperatures are also looking to be low 40s, maybe even upper 30s. So
Yeah.
we're definitely going to be on the cooler side over the next couple of days.
Yeah, so you're saying that, yeah, we could be in the upper 30s. We could be in the mid to upper 30s Thanksgiving morning, okay? And then we'll warm up into the 50s during the day, and it won't get much colder at night because the clouds are going to come in. We're going to get some rain. But yeah, kind of some chilly weather. Some folks it'll put in the holiday spirit. Okay, some folks it won't. Some it's going to make them. It's going to make them, you know, a Scrooge. So you could see that we've got some rough weather that still continues right now across Lawrence and Jefferson Davis counties. New Hebron over through Monticello and Prentiss. That's where the worst of the weather is. And this weather is moving across Highway 27 and will continue moving eastward, getting close to Highway 42 and also near Silver Creek. So this is where you're going to have your roughest weather as you go through the coming days and weeks. So, excuse me, the coming hours.
Yeah, Dave, and I know we were talking about those notches earlier. They're not impressive as much anymore. They seem to have since died down, I should say.
So we're looking at about another 18 minutes or so on this warning if it holds together. But that's about it for this as it continues moving eastward. You've got heavy rain right now over communities such as Rosella, New Hebron, Monticello. You're going to get on the backside of the storm now. There'll be some heavy rain moving in the next few minutes. Still hasn't rained that much near Prentiss or Silver Creek, but we think that as the storm sweeps eastward, that will also take place in the next few minutes. So the storm is definitely making some headway as it moves from west to east across the area.
And there is some good news. It looks like that stuff that we were looking at just off to the south at least wasn't looking too impressive in terms of severe storm potential, but we'll continue to keep an eye on it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's moving more eastward too, it looks like at this point. And it looks like it's maybe a little bit stronger right near the border of Louisiana and Mississippi. North and west of Jackson, though, it's just rain at this point, and that's the thing. So I'm not really seeing that changing very much at all. Have you had a lot of storm reports tonight as far as any kind of damage besides those spots where we've seen? Have the storm reports been filling up? Or
we haven't really heard of a lot. Maybe some downed trees and power lines, but that's about the extent of our storm reports.
And we've got crews deployed right now in Madison County. We also have Quentin Smith with the First Alert Storm Tracker. He's in Copiah County tonight, where there's been a lot of trees down, a lot of branches down, and power outages as well. But that's really been the extent of it. We just haven't had a lot of damage reports coming in, which is certainly some really good news. So this is the scene right now showing you north of Jackson, there's some lighter rain. We've got some heavier rain in eastern Atala County, northern sections of Lee County. But along I-20 south and eastward, that's where we're continuing to see the heavier rain. That's moving south and east. And you can see northern Lawrence and western Jefferson Davis counties, that's where the storm is continuing to remain most intense. And that's where that weather is going to continue going from west to east as we go through the coming minutes. But north and west of Jackson, there's just not much going on, just some lighter showers at this point. And that's also the case even as we get closer to Natchez at this point in time.
Yeah, it's, again, looking at like some heavy rain. If we put hail tracker on here, maybe some hail associated with this, but a penny in size. It's not looking too impressive. Same with our tornado warned storm, not looking super impressive in terms of hail.
Yeah, and that's the one storm that's left on the book. You know, you can see here, this is where the flash flood warning is in effect from Crystal Springs through Hazelhurst over through about the Weston area, and then eastward, Pinola, McGee, Mendenhall, Delo. That's where we have a flash flood warning in effect. But as far as a tornado warning is concerned, the only place under a tornado warning you have Prentiss, New Hebron, Monticello, and Sontag. The rest of the area is pretty quiet at this point. Just a lot of moderate to heavy rain that's continuing to fall out there. Here's another look at that storm cell. And again, the heavy rain is just about to move over Monticello from the backside of that storm. In fact, we just saw the scan update there. That doesn't look like a notch to me. It looks like actually a little data thing.
Yes,
so,
it looks like a missing data piece.
Yeah, so we're not going to get too concerned about that. But this looks more to me like a regular thunderstorm at this point.
Yes.
Moving off to the east. And of course, we're just waiting to see if we're going to get some additional reports in. But not much going on.
Yeah, even looking at, well, there's some wind.
Yeah, we still have some wind out there. This is you're looking just north of Monticello. 55-mile-an-hour winds. I bet you'll find maybe something a little higher in there.
Yeah, 62, 63, but nothing super pronounced, I would say. Maybe a little bit of a broad rotation at best in this, but not looking too impressive at this point.
Yeah, 60-mile-per-hour winds at least, but we've been seeing that a lot.
Yes.
So that's the view right now from Monticello. Again, heavy rain about to move in. And this is going to continue sweeping eastward along Highway 84. So we think it's going to be over by Prentice here before long, Silver Creek as well, and then New Hebron. So you could see Oma, NOLA, not much going on, but the heavy rain will continue sweeping eastward as we get closer to Silver Creek and Prentice. So that's the good news. We should be out of this fairly quickly. We think within the next 20, 30 minutes, most of this weather will be shifting east, but this storm seems to be taking its sweet little time. That's how it feels,
really
at least, with this storm out there right now, this particular storm cell. It's moving west to east across the area, but that seems to be the worst of the weather right now that we're seeing in the entire region. The rest of it's pretty quiet. We've got our crews covering the news in many different spots across the area this evening, from Madison County, also into Copiah County, where we've had damage reports as well. Power outages are pretty numerous. Ashley said we were at 14,000 customers. And let's go back to our first alert storm tracker in Copiah County. We'll go check in with Quentin Smith, see where you are now and what you're seeing from your point of view.
That's right, Dave. So right now I'm here on West Gallatin Street, west of downtown. This is the only part of town we haven't showed you. Now, all night long, we've been telling you about the tree damage and storm debris that's in the middle of the roads. Well, check this out. Right now, we have crews from the Public Works Department that's out removing some of the tree limbs and some of the debris to open some of these streets back up so traffic can be back flowing smoothly again. The gentleman that you see out right now, he's been removing trees all throughout the city of Hazelhurst right now. Again, we're on West Gallatin Street, just west of downtown. He's removing these tree limbs to open this road back up because this tree was once blocking the road, but now he's kind of pushing things to the side to allow traffic to be back flowing smoothly again here on West Gallatin Street in Hazelhurst. Again, right now there's still a lot of people left in the dark. Power crews are still going throughout town to restore power, and we have crews with the Public Works Department continuing to go around town to try to clean up some of the debris in the roads and open these roads back up so traffic can be back flowing smoothly again. The rain has slacked up. There's very sporadic lightning, no more thunder, but right now this is the scene here in the western part of Hazelhurst. We're going to continue to drive throughout town and see what else we can find, and once we do find something else, we'll definitely make sure we check right back in with you.
You know, Quentin, that looks like the roughest part of the storm area, at least the roughest part of the area that you've been in tonight as far as looking at damage. It seems like there's a lot of stuff littering the road. I don't know if Quentin can hear me or not.
I would say it's the roughest part that we've been in so far, just because, well, clearly, as you can see now, the Public Works Department, they've cleaned up much of the debris that was in the road, but this street was once blocked off. Tree limbs and debris was scattered everywhere. You can still see some of the debris, but a lot of it has been cleaned up. But I would say this is definitely the roughest part that we've seen. But again, the good news to report, no structural damages. We've only seen one, and that was the parts of the awning that was ripped off of the Oasis nightclub on Bank Street. But besides that, the only thing that we've been able to see is just tree limbs and other storm debris in the middle of the road. It appears as if this was just straight line winds that came through the area. As you can see, we have the power company. I'm gonna try to get this shot up for you. We have another power crew that's out restoring power here on West Gallatin Street, trying to get people in this neighborhood out of the dark tonight. Let's see, as I mentioned, people here in Hazelhurst, they've been in the dark since these strong storms swept through the area. So now power crews are going all throughout town, trying to flip the switch and restore power to these residents. And here's the latest example of that, of this power crew.
Hey, turn around.
It's clear. Keep going.
What are y'all doing?
Well, he's coming behind, cleaning the streets
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we have more crews from the Public Works Department that's clearing the streets. As you can see, this gentleman right here is getting another tree limb out of the road. So right now, crews are just busy trying to restore power and trying to get all of the damage and debris out of the road to open these roads back up to drivers. And so they're going to leave West Gallatin Street now and go over to another street where there are tree limbs in the road and debris, and get everything cleared up from those streets to open things up and get and kind of get things back to normal here in Hazelhurst. But of course, we're going to continue to drive around town. And like I said, once we find something else like we did here, I'll definitely make sure we check back in with you all.
All right, thank you so much. Quentin Smith is in Storm Tracker 3. It's kind of interesting. You get a whole new perspective this way because you think about it. The public works folks, who's working at 8:52 at night besides your TV meteorologist, right? But the public works folks are really working hard out there in the middle of it all right, cleaning up the stuff now. This is not waiting till 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow, all right? It's not waiting till afternoon. This is being taken care of tonight. So really appreciate all the efforts that are being made by those folks in that field. And you know, we're watching the storm right now that is continuing to close in on New Hebron and over through Silver Creek. And that storm is now just over Monticello. Doesn't look nearly as intense as it did a few minutes ago. We still have a tornado warning in effect for a few more minutes. This includes Prentice. It includes New Hebron over through Monticello. But we haven't had the reports yet, have we, Ashley? We just nobody's reporting any damage with this particular storm.
We have not, and the National Weather Service is in talks right now of trimming down the tornado watch within the next couple of minutes. So that is some good news.
Yeah, absolutely good news. I know we were just talking about this, so why don't you kind of tell everybody what you saw. We were just talking about the Storm Prediction Center. They may be issuing more watches downstream outside of our area, but it may include parts of the area, but it looks like it's going to be more outside of the area to the east. But we still have 2 hours to go, a little over 2 hours to go on our tornado watch that's in effect.
Yeah, and it looks like from what they're talking about right now, it's going to be moving off to our east, mainly along the Alabama state line, heading closer to that, as well as maybe further south for us here in Mississippi. But as of right now, we're really seeing the brunt of what we're expecting for the rest of tonight.
Absolutely. And so, our curiosity is peaking here. We're going to see what happens with this tornado warning that's in effect for Jefferson, Davis, as well as Lawrence counties. That's where severe weather continues to threaten the area. This is where the worst of the weather is right now in the whole viewing area. So if you live in Silver Creek or New Hebron or over through Prentice, that's where this weather's moving in. Let's take a look here at the big picture and show you what the radar looks like for the rest of the area. And as far as we're concerned, you could see that we've got a lot of light to moderate rain going on in the Jackson metro area. That's welcome, isn't it? We really want that kind of rain. It's nice to see. It's raining from Jackson to Vicksburg and eastward over through Forest and Morton. And we've got rain up north through areas around Carthage and Kosciuszko. So we're getting the much needed rainfall that we have been so desperate for months. And then we've got flash flooding, a flash flood warning for Simpson and parts of Copiah County. That's where big storms pushed across the area earlier on. You saw the report from Quentin Smith in the First Alert Storm Tracker. And now the most intense weather is really condensed to northern Lawrence and northern sections of Jefferson, Davis counties. So southwest Mississippi, there's not much going on except for the heavy rain at this point that's moving across Franklin and southwest Mississippi. So we may be reaching that point where we've tapped into all the energy that these storms can possibly tap into. But again, curiosity will be peaking on what happens here with this tornado warning at 9 o'clock. That storm just hasn't done very much, and we haven't had a lot of reports to go along with it. It's getting closer to being out of the area, but it's still moving off to the east at about 30 miles per hour or so. And so we think it's going to be moving through Silver Creek and Monticello before long. But again, even in this area, close to Highway 84, we just haven't had the reports. Nobody's reporting any damage at this point. And of course, as soon as we get any kind of information like that, we're going to tell you right about it. But in the meantime, it's been Copiah County, it's been Madison County where we've had the damage reports. I am seeing some minor stuff that's been popping up elsewhere, but beyond that, not much else.
They have canceled the tornado watch now for Adams, Atala, Choctaw, Claiborne, Holmes, Jefferson. I'll pull up the
pull up the map
here.
and let's show everybody what it looks like.
But they have taken a good portion of us out of this
Good,
tornado watch.
and you can see Hines and Madison are out. So, you know, pretty much if you were to draw a line along the Natchez Trace, all right, yeah, I see it here. If you were to draw a line around the Natchez Trace, north of the Natchez Trace, west of the Natchez Trace, that's it. You're out of the tornado watch. So stay on this map here just for a second, because this is definitely welcome news. We're getting there, right?
We are.
Yeah, we're getting
slowly
there.
but surely.
So the tornado watch goes until 11 o'clock. This was issued, what, about 4 o'clock today?
Yeah, round 4.
Yeah, around
today.
4, because you and I were doing a Facebook Live report right about the time that it came out. So we've been going on this for about 5 hours with our continuous coverage. And you could see that we're finally starting to make some headway, and a lot of the worst of the weather is starting to shift eastward and southward away from us, and that's certainly some good news. North, as I've been saying for a while now, and I hope I'm not droning on here, but really the metro area northward, there's just not a lot going on. Most of the weather has been, what did I say earlier today? Most of the weather would be from the metro southward, and that's kind of where we've had the tornado warnings today. Generally from central Mississippi south. And beyond that, there wasn't a lot in the Delta, and there hasn't been a lot in our northernmost counties, but most of the action has been from the metro on southward. Again, we had that storm flare up in Madison County earlier this evening. That prompted a tornado warning, and that extended into Leake and Scott counties as well. But for the most part, it's been our southernmost counties that have seen the most intense storms throughout the afternoon and this evening. And right now, it's the same story out there. So let's take a look at the regional radar and give you a perspective.
On Fox Weather, this is a Fox Weather alert. Right now, we've got some severe weather ripping across the south, especially some areas like Mississippi, for example. The threat does continue overnight into the day on Tuesday. I'll be timing that out for Thanksgiving travel. A lot of you are going to be having some problems, whether it's rain, whether it's snow, whether it's wind. I'll be explaining that to you as well. And farther off to the west, a lot of Rockies going to get in on some snow. That's also going to be impacting you for potentially Thanksgiving and also Black Friday. Welcome into Fox Weather, everyone. I'm Kelly Costa. So far, Louisiana, Mississippi really have been the target zone for the severe weather tonight. Take a look at earlier in Woodworth, Louisiana. Extremely heavy rainfall. If you look along the road there, you can actually see some tree branches down as well. A lot of severe weather, plenty of severe thunderstorms, plenty of tornado warnings. We've already had a couple of confirmed tornado warnings, and we are hearing about reports of some tornadic-like damage. So take a look at this over the last 12 hours. We've got this line pushing through Louisiana and Mississippi. This began in the afternoon, and unfortunately, the risk does continue at night. And the downside to that is severe weather at nighttime, overnight, is so much more dangerous than during the day, simply because of what you may be able to guess. A lot of people are sleeping. They're just unaware what's happening. So if you live in Louisiana, Mississippi, my piece of advice for you to stay safe tonight, make sure the critical alerts on your Fox Weather app are enabled. It will override your phone sound setting if it's on silent, and it will give you an audible alert, which is necessary if you're going to sleep. You need something to wake you up. Take a look at some of these reports coming in from Colfax. This is in from the National Weather Service. Now, National Weather Service Doppler radar indicated a possible tornado on the ground. They can tell that on the radar because the radar can look at the shapes of things in the atmosphere, and it knows the shapes of raindrops, it knows the shapes of hail. But when things get into the atmosphere that aren't typically there, the radar can highlight that for us. We call that a tornadic debris signature, meaning there could be things like trees, tree branches, maybe fencing, roofing that gets blown up into the sky, and the radar says, okay, I don't recognize this, I'm going to show this to you, and that's what the National Weather Service means by saying radar indicated possible tornado on the ground, with that debris signature evident. So the tornado produced structural damage and downed trees near the town of Gorham, near and around Highway 119. So the National Weather Service, their next steps is to go out and survey all of this damage to find out what exactly happened and confirm their suspicions. So nighttime tornado safety. Again, phone needs to be on. Critical alerts on the Fox Weather app need to be enabled. Have a go bag ready with anything you may need, including some medications. Know your safe space. This is extremely important, especially for children, to know this as well. If you're in a first-story home, I want you to get on the first floor of your home, most into your room, stay away from any windows, and if you can, place some shoes next to your bed, because in the unfortunate situation that you happen to get hit by a tornado, you're not going to be walking along all that debris. That can be very, very dangerous. So basement, if you have it. Unfortunately, the area of the country that has the risk for some severe weather overnight, you're going to Not many of you have that basement. Okay, so overnight we've got the risk in Louisiana, Mississippi. As we jump into your Tuesday, it continues, and it continues overnight into Tuesday morning, meaning this is right off the bat Tuesday morning, and that is going to continue. So southern Alabama, western Florida Panhandle, Tuesday morning, likely severe weather. But that continues all the way into the rest of the day as you go farther off to the north and east, all the way into the Carolinas. I do not want to rule out an isolated tornado anywhere in this pink area from southern Mississippi all the way up into Norfolk, Virginia. Maybe not a tornado outbreak, but there's a possibility to see an isolated tornado or two. Timing this out, 5 a.m. will all the way up into Norfolk, Virginia. So this fire hose of moisture just continues into the rest of Wednesday morning, up and down the coastline there across the state. This could be a nasty day, especially Tuesday morning, where that risk for some severe weather is highest in areas like southern Alabama. Let's talk about some different types of weather here. Going east Appalachians, you could see a little bit snow here, maybe even some weather by Tuesday. Johnstown, Pennsylvania, Somerset, Cumberland as well, all the way down to Staunton. You had this winter weather advisory that's in effect. And going farther to the north, now upstate New York, Vermont, you've also got a winter advisory in effect from Tuesday into Wednesday. Some of you will start with some rain. If you do make the switch over to some snow and may make the switch over to a wintry mix or rain again after that, it's really going to be a mixed bag of things, and that can be really tricky. And snow, rain again, do is it can actually wash away any road treatment that the highway departments put down, so that can actually be really, really tricky. It's not just plain snow. I'll show you this. So here we are, Tuesday, 7 a.m. Rain for most of you. In the mountains, a little bit of a wintry mix there in West Virginia that I showed you. Here we are, 5 p.m. Mountains of New York, for example. The Adirondacks, you could be getting in on a little bit of snow. Mountains of Vermont, you could be getting in on this. The Berkshires of Massachusetts, that's at 5 p.m. While a lot of you may see some snow, look as we get to Tuesday night. A lot of you making that switch over to rain again. And then as we get to Wednesday morning, rain again, plain rain all across New York State, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, but northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, northern Maine, you've still got that snow component as well. You stay as want to, Thursday is actually looking quite a bit better. So New York, you're getting in on the chance for some rain Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, though, for Thanksgiving Day, you're actually looking at a pretty good day, and it's a similar forecast for Boston. You're pretty wet Wednesday, looking better for Thanksgiving Day itself. Okay, I've been spitting a lot of information at you, so let's talk about it here. As we go into Tuesday morning, we're watching severe weather in southern Alabama, western Florida Panhandle. Throughout the day on Tuesday, rain across the southeast in the mid-Atlantic. It's the northeast, spots like Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, New York, and Maine that could be seeing rain to snow, back to rainfall. It's going to be an absolute mess, unfortunately. What does this mean for travel specifically? Going back to the Midwest, worst days to travel Tuesday, best days actually Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's a good window to get to and from where you're going to for Thanksgiving Day. Now for the plains, worst day to travel is actually going to be Sunday. Best days Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So getting there better, getting back a little bit more tricky. For the southeast, worst day to travel is Tuesday. Not only rain, but some of you have that risk for some severe weather. Best days to travel the day before Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving Day, and also to go home. The best day for that is going to be on Saturday. So for the northeast, best days to travel Thursday through Sunday. Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, Black Friday, Saturday and Sunday look good. Worst days are getting there. So going home, no problem. Getting there, problem. Tuesday and Wednesday before Thanksgiving is when we have that chance for some rain for a lot of us. Rain, snow, back to rain for many more. Some of you very, very high elevations, farther off to the north, far northern Maine, you could stick with snow throughout the whole event, which I would, if you were to ask me, I'd actually rather that than go from rain to snow to rain again. Again, because the rain can wash off that road treatment. In terms of forecast airport delays, now some context needed. This is only for active weather. This is not forecasting any staffing issues or anything like that that could lead to some delays or any mechanical issues, for example. Weather-wise, Tuesday, Atlanta, one of the biggest airports in the world, rain in the morning, storms in the afternoon. That could slow some things down. Charlotte, rain in the morning, rain in the afternoon. That could also slow some things down. Nashville, a little bit slower. To start your day, you're looking better Tuesday afternoon. Here's a rarity. Orlando, Tuesday morning and afternoon, looking pretty good. And Miami, Tuesday morning and Tuesday afternoon, you're looking good as well. So much traveling we're talking about over the next couple of days. Tuesday, driving, your morning rush. Wet for areas like western New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, West Virginia, Ohio, all the way into Virginia. Most of you just rain from the mountains, could be a little bit of a wintry mix and some snow. Tuesday afternoon, more of the wintry weather pushes into upstate New York. As we get to the evening, some snow in portions of Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, still upstate New York. And then again, a lot of you on the back end of things may switch back over to some rainfall. I hate wintry mixed precipitation. It just makes a mess of things. It would be so much better if it was all just plain rain or all just snow. When you get that mix or times of either, it can be a real mess. Now Tuesday, if you're going up and down the I-95 corridor, heavy rain, gusty winds are likely. This is what you can do to make your day better. It doesn't have to be miserable if you're traveling. If you're traveling by car, just give yourself plenty of time. If you're going to the airport as well, give yourself plenty of time to drive to the airport as well. You don't want to be cutting things close when it comes to traveling by air during the busiest travel time of the entire year. For the southeast, morning rush is going to be busy with some storms, potentially severe weather, especially across southern Alabama. We'll continue to track your Thanksgiving travel forecast with an update in a couple minutes. Make sure you keep it here.
Enterprise, Destin, and Montgomery as we head towards your Tuesday morning. Here's the forecast for the overnight. The cold front continues to move more towards the east, so your threat of severe weather will end once the cold front clears your community. You can always check out the watches and warnings. Always are scrolling at the bottom of the screen. By Tuesday afternoon, we'll see heavy rain towards Atlanta, Macon, Augusta, toward Columbia, and that may lead to some travel impacts across the country because of these thunderstorms working its way through Atlanta and Charlotte and some of the other major hubs across the east. By Wednesday and Thursday, we see high pressure building on in, bringing us a very nice forecast. We do need the rain. It's great to see several inches here to fall across Mississippi and Alabama, and we do need the rain. Here's the latest drought monitor, and many of us are very thirsty for rain, especially to the west of I-65. For many of us, it's going to be a wet evening for the overnight into the first part of Tuesday. Sunshine will build back to the region for Wednesday and for Thursday. For Birmingham, Alabama, we'll see a good chance of rain for Tuesday morning. Wednesday, Thursday, we'll see temperatures in the 50s, a small chance of rain for Friday, lows at night, 30s and 40s. For the Atlantic coast of the southeast, we'll see rain moving more towards the east. We could see a few stronger thunderstorms across Atlanta, towards Georgia, the Carolinas, even into East Tennessee. By Tuesday night, everything works its way towards the east of I-95, and by Wednesday, we are done with the rain for the most part. Still can see some lingering showers still across South Carolina into the Outer Banks of North Carolina by Wednesday. Here's the outlook for Tuesday. For seeing a few strong to severe thunderstorms, it encompasses a lot of area from Montgomery, Alabama, all the way into southeast Virginia. And here we'll see quite a bit of rain too. Some of us may see totals over 3+ inches, which is great news, especially for all the fires that we have ongoing in the portions of the southeast. There's a flooding risk for the overnight west of Montgomery, and then we have a risk for Tuesday for isolated flooding concerns across Atlanta, Macon, Charlotte, Raleigh into Virginia Beach. Your next couple days shows lots of rain. The forecast for Tuesday and Wednesday, we dry things out just in time for Thanksgiving. For Thursday, with temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Greenville, South Carolina, we'll see a chance of rain for Tuesday, another chance of rain for Friday. The weekend looks really nice with temperatures in the upper 50s, lows at night into the 40s. Then down towards Florida, we'll see rain increasing across the I-10 corridor. Another round of rain is likely behind the front for Wednesday across Tallahassee and Jacksonville. Tampa to the south. We may see a few rain showers, but this front's going to move through mainly dry as the dynamics are better well off to the north. Let's take you out to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where Atlanta has the details about some of the changes coming to the northeast.
Yeah, hopefully you're prepared for some slow-moving roadways out there, some potential travel headaches as we get through the next couple of days. But Thanksgiving does look like it's going to be a little bit more favorable. So maybe you head out to Grandma's house on Thanksgiving.
In Utah, some areas got over a foot of snowfall recently, and well, guess what? There's more to come. You can see the lights are flashing there, warning people at four-wheel drive where some chains are absolutely required. Now, the snow we saw from this system is actually the same system that's bringing the risk for severe weather to areas of the south, especially over Mississippi, overnight and throughout the day on Tuesday. But we are going to get another storm system that brings even more snow and wintry weather for the Rockies later this week, just in time for Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Not what you want to hear, probably, at least in terms of travel. If you're staying local, it's probably going to be pretty nice. Take a look at Friday morning. This is Black Friday, keep in mind. Riverton, 25 degrees, snow. Denver, 27 degrees, snow. Salt Lake City, 36 degrees, snow. In Greystone, 23 degrees and snow. This is going to be pretty widespread. It all begins Wednesday night, coming in from Montana and Idaho. Cold air just continues to funnel down to the south, and you get snow with it. That continues throughout the day on Thursday for Thanksgiving, and especially for Black Friday. Look at noontime. Southern Montana, southern Idaho, almost all of Wyoming, southwestern South Dakota, western Nebraska, northwestern Kansas, Colorado, Utah, even some spots of northern New Mexico. That lingers for most of Black Friday and into the upcoming weekend. So how much snow can we see from this? Well, this is the accumulative that you're expecting from Thursday through Saturday. So the accumulation is expected to be as high as, say, there could be some spots in the mountains of Wyoming that see about a foot to a foot and a half. Most of you are going to see in the range between 6 to 12 inches. West of I-25 Colorado, some of the highest peaks of the mountains there could be picking up 5 to 8. So a healthy amount, nothing you can't handle, certainly a healthy amount. I think those numbers are a little bit better considering they're stretched over Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But look at the temperature outlook here. This is for the end of the month. So if you're to basically squash the temperature forecast for the end of the month into one graphic just to show the general trends of the temperature, We're actually doing quite a big of a flip-flop. A lot of us are pretty warm somewhat recently, and here we are looking at likely cooler temperatures. Now, also something to keep in mind with this, when we say likely cooler, this doesn't always mean 20 degrees colder, 10 degrees colder. Considering the chances are low to moderate, this is probably looking like just a couple of degrees colder than what you're probably used to. So you may not exactly notice it. This is something you'll notice though. Denver, Colorado, Wednesday, you're going from bright and 67 to a high temperature on Friday of 27 degrees, a high temperature of 27 degrees. Saturday, you're in the 30s. Some of that snow is going to begin to melt on Sunday because your temperature is going to be above freezing and the sun is going to be shining. Similar for Salt Lake City, 48 on Wednesday down to 36 on Friday. Snow is going to begin to melt Saturday and Sunday as the temperature climbs and as the sun pops out. The sun always amps up snow melt. Okay, just in case you missed it, I really want to talk about the Thanksgiving forecast quite a bit. Honestly, Thanksgiving Day itself in the Northeast, if you are staying local or you're already going to be where you need to be, it's looking good, folks. Really lucking out here. Burlington, Vermont, few clouds, 42 degrees. Nothing you can't handle. Portland, Maine, bright, 49. Buffalo, cloudy, 46. Albany, cloudy, 47. Boston, low 50s. Nothing to complain about there. New York City, Philly, and D.C., you're going to have beautiful sunshine and temperatures in the low to the mid 50s. Now, the warmest Thanksgiving for New York City was around 66 degrees. 55, if you were to ask me, perfect, right? Not too cool, not too warm to the point where it doesn't feel like Thanksgiving anymore, though, right? Maybe you agree with me, maybe not. Here's the Southeast looking good for Thanksgiving Day itself, too. Not so much on Tuesday. Thursday, good. Charlotte, North Carolina, 60, a few clouds and some sun. In Nashville, Tennessee, bright, 59. Memphis, you're going to be at 58. Jackson, 58. Huntsville, 58. Atlanta, 57. Orlando, you're down to 69 degrees. That's quite a bit cooler than we've been recently. Wow, let me tell you, Fox Weather Orlando Bureau is where I am right now, and we've had a lot of 80s recently. Hasn't really been feeling like the Thanksgiving and almost now the holiday season. Hasn't felt like that at all. Cooler for Thanksgiving, but dry. Miami, you're down to 79, which compared to how warm you've been recently, that's also relatively cool. In no way would I ever call 79 cool. Relatively, maybe. Now for Thursday, for the Northern Plains, as I talked about, yes, western South Dakota, western Nebraska, you could be getting in on some chances for some snow. Bismarck, though, cold, 27. You're more used to 27. You should be able to handle that just fine. Wichita, Kansas, you're in the 50s. Minneapolis down to the 30s. Chilly. St. Louis, bright, 57. Chicago, 48. Detroit, 49. Not bad for what you guys are used to. Marquette, Michigan, right near freezing for your high temperature on Thanksgiving. Now, far southern Texas has a chance for some rain on Thanksgiving Day. The vast majority of you, dry, beautiful. Oklahoma City, bright, 63. Albuquerque, cloudy, 55. El Paso, bright, 65. Lubbock, 67. Dallas, 61. San Antonio, dry, 63. Guys, a great forecast here. Really, really nice forecast here for Thanksgiving Day. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 57. Little Rock, Arkansas, bright, and your high is right near 60 degrees. Now, here's where we have the tricky weather for Thanksgiving Day. At least it's in the area of the country where you're used to it, so it's not as crippling if it was, say, in the Mid-Atlantic or in the Northeast. At least for this time of year, you're better equipped with it. Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, widespread snow. Yes, the Northeast is used to snow, but in November, there have only been some big snowstorms here and there. Okay, Thanksgiving forecast. Areas of Nevada could be picking up on some snow. Same with Salt Lake City. Maybe during the day, during the warmest part of the day, you could be seeing a little bit of rain. But as you get into Thursday night into Friday, that's when Salt Lake City is looking at a chance for some snowfall. Okay, we're really flip-flopping weather here. We're going from warmer weather, severe weather, to snow. Now we're going back to rain and storms, but this time it's a little bit more tropical. Fox with the Hurricane HQ. Disturbance number 2 now is a 50% chance of development. Disturbance number 1 over the Caribbean, just a 10% chance. So let's talk about this. Here's disturbance number 1. This is over the Caribbean. This is not the same system we were talking about last week, but 10% chance of development. So it's moving off to the west. Some forecast models are split. Some say this stays west. Some say this actually hooks off to the northeast. But considering the conditions around this, National Hurricane Center is saying there's only a 10% chance of development over the next 2 days. If that changes, of course, we will let you know. Again, the primary driver behind these chances for tropical development, especially this time of year, is the fact that sea surface temperatures are much warmer than average. So tropical systems require warm sea surface temperatures to form. It is their #1 fuel source. That cutoff zone for what can be helpful for tropical development and what's no longer helpful for tropical development is right around 80. So 78, 79, not going to help so much. 80, 81, 82, that's going to help. And then look at this. In the Caribbean, we've got 84, 85 for sea surface temperatures. So that is plenty warm enough to help with tropical development. If the atmospheric conditions were a little bit better, that chance would be higher than 10%. Now, National Hurricane Center said the reason it's only 10% is because of a little bit of dry air. I have to say, though, a couple more model runs looking a little bit more in the future, it does look like there's a little bit more than previous. So, of course, make sure you stay tuned. If they increase that, we'll let you know. If they decrease that chance, we'll also let you know, of course. Here's this disturbance #2. This is to the south and east of Bermuda, so it's in the middle of the ocean. And it's moving southeast and expected to actually hook off farther off to the north. So this actually had a recent increasing chance for development. It's low over the next 2 days, so this isn't a short-term thing. It's more of a longer-term thing, but 50% chance.
From the higher terrains into West Virginia, Maryland, near Cumberland, Somerset, Altoona, just to the west of State College, into the northeast of Pittsburgh. That's winter weather advisories here. We could see freezing rain with some snow and sleet mixed into the picture too. We could see light amounts of icing here, but of course it doesn't really take a lot of icing to cause some concerns. Then, as it moves to the north into upstate New York and throughout most of Vermont, not including the city of Burlington, we have to watch out for snow, ice, and some gusty winds, as we could see a couple of inches of snow, and we could see some icing concerns too. Our model continues to suggest, especially northwest of I-95 from Millinocket towards the Canadian border, we can see amounts in here over a foot between now through Wednesday night. Rainfall amounts will be very heavy too, especially down towards West Virginia, and across the DMV. We may see amounts mixed in throughout the region over 2+ inches. So here's the forecast as we go through Tuesday. Lots of rain across the mid-Atlantic from Ohio, West Virginia, eastern Kentucky into Virginia. Notice though, for some of the higher terrains, as we showed you with that winter weather advisory, we could see some freezing rain with some sleet and snow mixed into the picture. Then across upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, we will see snow with some ice mixed in too, depending on the temperature profile. But for areas like Philadelphia, Baltimore, DC, Virginia Beach, New York City, Hartford, Providence, and Boston, no winter concerns for you all. We'll see just a steady rain, some heavy rain. May see a strong thunderstorm or two, especially maybe from DC down to the south as we go into your Tuesday, Wednesday. By Tuesday afternoon, most precipitation is off the map. Still seeing rain and snow across northern New England from New Hampshire over into Maine, but we may see some impacts at the airports of all this rain coming into the forecast for Tuesday. So pack your patience, keep up with airlines, make sure that your flight's not being canceled or delays, and hopefully make it to your destination safely as we move into the next couple of days. So that's one of our top weather headlines. And Lenny, you have more information about our next story, which brings us out towards California.
Yeah, California actually had some travel concerns from some of the very gusty winds. The return of Santa Ana winds have led to an increase in turbulence for some of us across SoCal. And even at times we had some delays down and through the Los Angeles area airports. We had really intense winds. This one is just a wild report coming out of Magic Mountain, California. 130-mile-an-hour gusts were reported on Monday. Very isolated gusts that got this high, but look at them, an 80, 90-mile-an-hour gust from Mission Viejo down through Corona. So it's pretty intensely windy. And the reason being is we have this high pressure system And it's just that time of year where we get this setup where we have downsloping winds coming off of some of the Southern California mountains, and that leads to this Santa Ana wind setup here. So extremely dry downsloping winds will be in that forecast. Typically happens this time of year in fall and winter, and that's why we have these high wind alerts and more of the gold shades, and then the tan shades we are under wind advisories through Tuesday. So expect some very gusty winds, locally higher. If you're just into the foothills of some of those higher elevations, you could see some big gusts, and that's going to dry things out as well. So be cautious out there. We don't want any kind of wildfire sparks, so do what you can. Avoid cutting the grass on Tuesday. Tie up loose chains on your vehicles to avoid a spark. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with your Central Regional next.
Random women keep approaching me.
Right now we've got some severe weather ripping across the south, especially some areas like Mississippi, for example. The threat does continue overnight into the day on Tuesday. I'll be timing that all out for you. Thanksgiving travel. A lot of you are going to be having some problems, whether it's rain, whether it's snow, whether it's wind. I'll be explaining that to you as well. And farther off to the west, a lot of Rockies going to get in on some snow. That's also going to be impacting you for potentially Thanksgiving and also Black Friday. Welcome into Fox Weather, everyone. I'm Kelly Costa. So far, Louisiana, Mississippi really have been the target zone for the severe weather tonight. Take a look at earlier in Woodworth, Louisiana. Extremely heavy rainfall. If you look along the road there, you can actually see some tree branches down as well. We've already had a couple of confirmed tornado warnings, and we are hearing about reports of some tornadic-like damage. So take a look at this over the last 12 hours. We've got this line pushing through Louisiana and Mississippi. This began in the afternoon, and unfortunately the risk does continue overnight. And the downside to that is severe weather at nighttime overnight is so much more dangerous than during the day, simply because of what you may be able to guess. A lot of people are sleeping and they're just unaware what's happening. So if you live in Louisiana, Mississippi, my piece of advice for you to stay safe tonight, make sure the critical alerts on your Fox Weather app are enabled. It will override your phone sound setting if it's on silent, and it will give you an audible alert, which is necessary if you're going to sleep. You need something to wake you up. Take a look at some of these reports coming in from Colfax. This is in from the National Weather Service. Now, National Weather Service Doppler radar.
Monday was an active day across the south central United States. Here is the view from Fairday, Louisiana, which is near the Louisiana-Mississippi border. We had some reports of possible tornado, and we definitely saw a fair share of very large hail near the community of Fairday, where we had reports of hailstones up to the size of half-dollar size, which is 1.25 inches thick. The good news is that the threat for severe weather, at least across this region, is beginning to wind down. But if you're watching us into southeast Louisiana, don't let your guard down quite yet, especially between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. You can still see some of these strong thunderstorms rolling through while many of us are sleeping, even past midnight. By tomorrow morning, we should see some sunshine building back in. Still can see some heavy rain, and it's going to turn much cooler behind the front, too. So here's a look at the forecast as we go into the next couple of days. First, I'll take a look at the hail reports and wind reports we're seeing across the south central United States. But again, we did see some large hail across Louisiana, Mississippi, and we have seen wind gusts over towards Hazelhurst. We also had maybe a potential touchdown of a tornado nearby. We had wind gusts over 60 miles an hour. So for the overnight, from the Mississippi River towards Hattiesburg down towards Baton Rouge, New Orleans, we have to continue to monitor this region very closely as we could see a few tornadoes and some more gusty winds as everything continues to move more towards the east. So throughout the overnight, we'll see the cold front move more towards the east. We still may see some additional clouds build behind this front that may bring us a few rain showers across southeast Louisiana as we go into the day on Wednesday and Thursday. But if we do see anything extra behind the front, rainfall amounts would not be all that heavy. The heaviest amounts of rain will fall along the front, as someone's going to see an additional 1 to 2 inches. Texas, we are done with the active weather for tonight. For the night, we'll see a low around 46 degrees in San Angelo, Texas. We'll see 60s out ahead of the front across Hattiesburg over towards New Orleans, and we'll see upper 60s towards Mobile. Tuesday, we'll see those highs in the 60s and 70s. We'll see 59 degrees for Wednesday for Lake Charles, Louisiana. For New Orleans, we'll see a chance of rain Tuesday and Thursday. Another chance of rain for the first part of next week, with highs in the 50s and 60s, lows in the 40s. For the southern plains, we're seeing decreasing skies. Much cooler conditions are likely for Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday, as high pressure builds to an end. So we did see active weather earlier Monday, but the threat for severe weather is now coming to an end. If we do see more rain to the east of the Arctic Mist, we could see totals between Vicksburg and Memphis over another inch as the rain moves more towards the east. Amarillo, Texas, we'll see a high of 54 degrees for your Tuesday. We'll see 60s in your forecast for Wednesday and Thursday with a mixture of sun and clouds. Dallas, Texas, we'll see highs near 60 for Tuesday. Not much rain in your forecast for the next couple of days. Another cool down suspected by Saturday. Lows in the 30s and 40s. And for West Texas, a quiet forecast here. We'll see a low of 47 degrees in Abilene, Texas, 41 degrees in Carlsbad, New Mexico, 45 out towards El Paso. Tuesday, a nice afternoon, lots of sunshine, temperatures into the 50s and 60s. We'll see a high near 60 degrees for El Paso, Texas, near 60 for Fort Stockton. And your forecast for Thursday shows temperatures, again, looking really nice. You have to travel across this region. No issues when it comes to weather. Lubbock, Texas will see highs in the 50s and 60s, cooler by the weekend with a high of only 42 degrees, so bundle up for the weekend with lows dropping down into the 20s. Let's take you up to the north, where Atlanta, you can talk a little more about some changes to areas like Omaha.
Yeah, as we get to the northern side of this severe weather system, we're running into more of a wintry mix and a snowfall potential, especially focused up and towards more of the Great Lakes. So we run into an active weather pattern. There's a cold front that's going to sweep through. There's some snow chances, some ice chances overnight up through Michigan. So a little bit of everything for some of us, but not for everybody. So let's talk a little bit more about what we're expecting overnight. So we get into Tuesday morning, heavy rainfall coming down from Chicago through Milwaukee. In between all of this, you can see a bit of a rain-snow mix across central Wisconsin and in through the lower peninsula of Michigan. So all those shades of pink is where that rain is trying to transition over to potentially a little bit of snowfall. So don't rule out a bit of icing throughout the morning drive across Tuesday. It's going to be a little bit slushy, a little bit sloppy out here. If you're maybe running some last minute errands before Thanksgiving, it might even be better to just wait until Tuesday later in the day or Wednesday. Wednesday looks pretty quiet and clear across these areas as this cold front works its way through. So as we look at some of those totals, you can see a little bit of icing across Michigan possible. A little bit of snowfall, 1 to 3 inches of snowfall possible, upwards of an inch of rainfall from Chicago through Kalamazoo. Let's look at some of those temperatures, because this is why we're seeing this rain-snow mix for a lot of us. Overnight lows kind of flirt with the freezing line. 32 for Wausau drops down to freezing. Traverse City gets down to 34. In between all of these low 30s, there will be some freezing temperatures, and that's where we'll see a little bit of icing for some of us. And it's going to feel like not the greatest day in Green Bay. Upper 30s for Tuesday afternoon with a strong northerly wind. Grand Rapids in the 40s. Chicago feeling pretty raw in the upper 40s with gusty winds and rain showers. Then as we get into Wednesday, you can see a lot more 40s, but we start to see winds shift and come a little bit more out of the south. So day by day, we'll get a little bit clearer and drier. For Chicago, you are guaranteed rain on Tuesday. So if you are running last minute errands, Wednesday's your day. Thanksgiving looks great. Friday up to the 40s, and then this Thanksgiving weekend, a little bit on the cool side, but sunny for any of those travelers out there. Down through the southern plains and the Ozarks, we're wrapping up up some of the rain into the overnight hours. A pretty dry front moves through. It won't really do much other than bring us a wind shift. So the rain that you see on the board is mostly from that low that's working its way through overnight. Overnight lows get down to freezing in Kearney and Colby, in the 40s across the Ozarks to Springfield, all the way out through Rolla and Springfield, Illinois. We're in the 40s to start off the day. And as we get throughout the afternoon, not much of a warm up for a lot of us. We're only going to warm up a couple degrees for Kansas City and Springfield with some very gusty winds coming out of the north. And then by Wednesday, southerly winds return and we should get some 50s and 60s back in the forecast here. So for Springfield, Missouri, Thanksgiving Day really looks like the warmest day of the week, up to 57 degrees. And then a wide look of this front moving through overnight, bringing in some rain across the upper Midwest and through Minnesota, some snow from Green Bay through Madison, so be prepared for some slick roads. A reinforcing front comes through and could even bring some snow chances into the Black Hills.
Especially when it comes to tailgating. This season, we've got new teams, new super fans here in the middle of city.
They need a touchdown and a two-point conversion. I don't believe it. What a game! 30, 20, he breaks the tackle. Touchdown!
Shades of Black. We celebrate Black culture.
Woo! There you go, friend.
Shades of Black is your playlist for epic movies.
We're gonna have to charge you a cleaning fee.
A cleaning fee?
Fan favorite series.
Jesse?
I'm sorry. I'm not your father.
And hype music.
I feel like what I'm doing is inspiring young people.
It's actually amazing.
Shades of Black. Watch now.
I don't want to talk about it. I told you that contraption is not made for black women. I'm 17 years old and I killed my mother.
Hey, Chloe, tu veux pas?
Ion Plus is your home for adventure.
Rex, go!
Mystery.
Fascinating.
And thrill.
Woo!
Just keep your ear out and see if I pick anything up.
What's with the dog?
He's with me.
You're not supposed to root for the criminals.
That's what I do. No crime is unsolvable. Some simply take longer than others.
You'll always find more on Ion Plus.
Welcome back to Weather Nation. It looks pretty quiet in Winthrop Harbor in Illinois, but as we get into your Tuesday morning, we're expecting lots of rainfall across the Lake Michigan area. So expect some changes, and it's all because this upper level low that's bringing some moisture northbound. In some cases, it'll be chilly enough to see a rain-snow mix into your early Tuesday morning, especially across Michigan and up through Wisconsin. You can see forecast models detecting a bit of a rain-snow mix in places like Milwaukee and all the way out through Traverse City. And so we'll see a lot of heavy rainfall coming down from Chicago through Detroit. So there's a lot of moisture with this, but with those northerly winds wrapping around this low, we'll see temperatures drop cool enough where we could see a bit of a wetter and a slushier snow throughout your Tuesday morning drive. As this low continues to push farther north, you can see lots of pinks and blues up through Michigan, including the Upper Peninsula. And then behind this low pressure system, we may even see a few bands of lake effect snow as the system works its way off to the east. It becomes more of an issue for the Northeast if you're traveling on Wednesday, which will bring you some of those details coming up as we get through out the rest of the hours. Let's talk about totals. You can see rainfall into the deeper greens, over an inch of rain possible from Chicago through Bloomington, through Peoria, and then some of our snowfall totals here could be a quick inch or so from Madison through Green Bay. In terms of icing, some of our icing chances are going to mostly be across the I-75 corridor of Michigan from Houghton Lake down through Big Rapids here. Detroit looks pretty quiet from ice. It's mostly going to be a rainfall event for you. So zooming into this region here from Green Bay through Traverse City, you can see at 2, 3 in the morning, we start to see lots more of those temperatures drop. And over the Great Lakes, it's warm enough that it's a rainfall event, but over those colder surfaces, we could potentially lead to some of that light icing, a wintry mix out through Milwaukee and Green Bay. And then the system wrapping up as we get through your Tuesday afternoon and evening and dry for Tuesday night. Overnight lows get down to the 30s, and that's where things are tricky with the potential of a rain snow mix across these spots. And then afternoon highs not warming up much, but pretty close to seasonable across the Great Lakes, which should be around the 40s. There's your forecast highs from Tuesday through Thanksgiving. Looks like a very seasonable day for Chicago. Rain chances pretty much a guarantee on Tuesday. Let's head out to Portland and talk about that northwestern forecast.
Yeah, so here into Portland, Oregon, we did see a very lovely day on Monday. We are in between systems. Our next system moves into the range for Tuesday into Wednesday. Look at all the snow that we are seeing across the Northwest in the last 24 hours. We're seeing quite a bit of snow into southeast Idaho, also over into Wyoming from Salt Lake City, Grand Junction, over towards the Denver region. So let's pick up the forecast on Tuesday afternoon. You can see we are seeing that rain beginning to move into northwest Oregon, also into western Washington. The front continues to move more towards the east. We could see some snow across some of the higher terrains of Idaho. So initially, as the system moves in, not really much snow for areas around Oregon and Washington. Then, as the system moves more towards the east, let's say towards Missoula and Great Falls, by Wednesday afternoon, we could see some rain, some snow mixing in. We could see a better chance of snow down towards southeast Idaho into northwest Wyoming as the system continues to move more towards the east. All this energy will eventually move more to the south across the northern four corners, across Utah, also over into Colorado, give them a chance of snow for Thursday and for Friday. How much rain can we see for the next couple of days? Not too much rain is expected between now through Wednesday night. Across the I-5 corridor, we could see amounts closer to about 1 inch towards Oregon, towards Idaho, and towards Montana. We'll see light amounts of rain. When it comes to snow, many of us will see about 2 to 4 inches, but we're going to see heavier amounts of snow, likely down to southeast Idaho from Haley, Idaho Falls towards Twin Falls. These across those mountain terrains, we could see amounts there between 3 to 6 inches. And we did see some strong gusty winds throughout the day across Idaho into Montana, winds between 60 to about 70 miles an hour. And we're watching our next lows that continues to move more towards the east. We continue to see some wind alerts into northern Montana, so winds remain very breezy across the northwest. Over the next couple of days in northern Montana, we could see wind gusts approaching 40 to 50 miles an hour as the next cold front comes in for Wednesday, kicking up the winds and also bring us some cooler temperatures for the second half of the work week. Well, many of us won't be working because we'll be at home celebrating Thanksgiving. So no, there's no second half of the work week unless you have to work for Thursday, Friday. We'll see temperatures for Wednesday and Thursday with highs in the 40s and 50s. 37 degrees for Missoula for Tuesday, dropping to the upper 30s for Thursday. Your forecast in Seattle shows a chance of rain for Wednesday. We are dry for Thanksgiving and Black Friday with temperatures in the 40s. We'll close at night, cooling down into the 30s. Let's take you up to Washington, D.C. to talk more about that travel forecast and some turkeys that are happy that the president saved them.
These are, I'm assuming, the pardoned turkeys.
Yes.
And it's always hilarious, whatever their name is. I don't know what their names are this year.
Liberty and Bell.
Oh, Oh, cute. Liberty Bell, but not cute. Those turkeys are terrifying out there in Washington, D.C. Only a couple more days until Thanksgiving. So we know lots of people are going to be out and about traveling. If Thanksgiving's not your thing, we've got 17 days until Hanukkah starts and 35 days until Christmas. Or if you're looking forward to 2024, just over 40 days away. Now let's talk about that forecast for travelers on Tuesday. Some of our headaches are going to be associated with this cold front that sweeps its way across the eastern United States from the Great Lakes all the way down through the deep south on Tuesday. A snapshot of what Wednesday looks like, a little bit better of a travel day, especially across center portions of the country. A little bit of a rain, snow up in towards areas of Montana and out through the northeast, but we get into Thanksgiving Day. We could run into some travel problems across the state of Wyoming, Idaho, and up through the Rocky Mountains, where we're looking at incoming snowfall chances. So Tuesday, some of the most dangerous roads are going to bring us across the southeast as we're looking at a severe weather threat from the Gulf Coast all the way up in towards the Carolinas, so be prepared for that. And then a very messy day across the Interstate 95 corridor. Later in the day, you could run into more of a rain-snow mix across New England. We're going to take a short break. Your Western Regional forecast is next.
This is the movie that we're gonna make. We're improvising the action scenes. Nice to beef you.
They're literally trying to murder us. Only one man can help you.
Go.
It's Kevin Hart.
Well, how do you like your tea?
The Marriage Pact, an agreement between two people that if they're still single by a certain due date, they'll marry each other.
Holy I suck at relationships. It's the truth.
Fail Army, streaming free on Channel 810.
I summon Winged Karibo in defense mode. It's on!
There's gonna be trouble.
Let's have it!
Pull that trigger.
Now all I need is a fresh horse, a saddle, and a gun.
A question can have only two kinds of answer, right?
Wrong. This is impossible.
The quiz show that goes beyond right and wrong.
Look a bit nervous there.
To stab in the dark.
No idea at all. Impossible Quiz Show.
It's 50 past the hour, which means it's time for your West Regional forecast. I know it's been a very busy day on the eastern side of the United States following severe weather. We'll talk more about that at the top of the hour. But first, I'll show you pretty snow views from Frisco, Colorado, and from Angel Fire, New Mexico. We did see